It's UPBOptionMillionaires.com, February 1st, 2016. Welcome to February. It's Monday after the closing bell. The market looked like it was going to fall to pieces, but in the middle of the session, we rallied, got us into positive territory before pulling back and closing just about even. The market came back to the Friday close, a full circle type session, something that we saw back in 2015 an awful lot, where the market would gyrate up and down, but ultimately close where it started at. After the bell, Google is rallying up over the $800 level for the first time, new all-time record highs after the closing bell on earnings. But this market really continues to watch crude oil. So you look at this market rallying late in the trading session, but crude oil down over 6%, almost 7%. Really, to see the market shrug it off, kind of bullish for the market. And also, if you want to look back, we hit our lows last week, crude oil, overnight, Monday night into Tuesday. That's where we're heading into with that market low here for crude oil. That could be bullish for the stock market. Also, look at energy to follow through. Energy not down as much. We're down 6% on crude oil. XLE, the energy ETF, down just over 1.5% today. Got up to the 57.50 level before pulling back, but not up to the highs that we saw on Friday into the closing bell. Longer term perspective, we're seeing a nice bounce there for the energy ETF XLE. And then let's look at crude oil from a longer term perspective here, with nice bounces along the way throughout the decline that we started to see in June of 2014. So we're in the midst of that bounce here. Is this something that's going to get us back up to almost 40 on crude oil futures? We'll see, which would imply USO. You can get the USO ETF, which is down near record lows. Getting a little bit of a bounce over $9 will get us back up into double digits for USO. Pretty mind-boggling. I think it was over $40 in 2014. Some longer-term charts to look at here for the S&P 500 ETF. The spiders support remains strong here. You can see these wicks getting rejected, and we see maybe a bounce back up into the 200s for the SPY in the short term. A great buy signal came in the short term also as we held support, and I think odds are pointing towards a move back up to 200, a similar type action that we saw back at the market crash. In 2015, August, you see the move we had back up to 200 before revisiting the lows at the end of September. We're going to get a similar type action here. We're certainly not overbought yet off the lows. We got a nice buy signal last week, and it's the first buy signal of 2016. These buy signals have worked out pretty well for the market in the short to medium term. Also look at QQQ. Holding key support levels, a bounce up to 110 is certainly in the cards here as we get a nice relief rally. Also, IWM, the small caps down 0.5% today, but guess what? A really strong move late in the session on Friday. Got it up to 103 to see it pull back 47 cents. Certainly not that concerning, especially over this $100 level. This flagging pattern looked like a nice bear flag. We're going to break down. We've done the opposite. So that was one of the bearish things I was looking at last week. It negated that pattern, and now we're looking for a move back up to 110. I think you can start to get a little bit more bullish here for the market. It's Monday. The Mondays have not been good decision-wise for the market, but I think as the week progresses here, we're going to start to see the action head to the upside as we saw with Google after the bell. You can see it closed at 770 at 1.25%, but up at 880, new all-time record high after the bell for Google. Actually, it was 840. I believe it's at 828 right now. So you can see Google, its last earnings report had a beautiful gap up. And if you look back, was pegged at this 550 level before this massive rally that was back in the summer of 2015. Had a huge move up into the 700s. Some options went from 10 cents to $100. Pretty miraculous move there for Google. So its earnings reports have been a catapult for the stock. Earnings report coming out for LinkedIn this week. And, I look at this pattern here. Possible head and shoulders topping pattern. You see it came off the 190 level. But let's keep an eye on this. This might be something to get some lotto puts for. We'll see. Earnings report, though, the last time in October vaulted the stock up some $55, $60. But on the flip side, you go back to April, we had a sharp decline. And if you look at last year, about this time when it reported earnings, went from about 230 up to 270. So I think one thing you can look for LinkedIn heading into this earnings report this week will be a sharp move to the upside or the downside. Pretty obvious. I kept an obvious there, but you can see these beautiful gaps here. And these are all earning report gaps. So we're going to get another massive one. Of course, the market's going to be pricing in some sort of move like that. So you're going to pay for it. Maybe get some really far out of the money options there. And you can see the financials, JP Morgan Chase bouncing off support here. We see a continuation here. Maybe fill this gap. Goldman Sachs also, you can see the 160 level, trying to get above it, and it's really coming across these two trend lines here long term. If it can break above it, get back to the 165 level, we can be looking at this gap at about 180 in the short term for Goldman. Spectacular. A couple other things to watch. The VXX. I know it's a broken instrument. You can see it's starting to roll over here. If you draw a trend line across, guess what's happening? What has happened pretty much after every spike along the way since the March lows in 2009? It's selling off, and I think we're going to see it head back under 20 here. This might be a good trade for downside. The VXX via puts. UPBOptionmillionaires.com. Come join us in our new chat room tomorrow. It's going to be an exciting week. We have Google earnings already out. We've got a lot of earnings reports linked in. It's going to be an exciting week. See you in the chat room. Everyone have a great evening. Goodbye.